The experiences you went through in this ambulance, can you see them through two cameras, right? There are front and rear cameras that record every time the ambulance is in motion. Your ambulance's black box. The camera is capturing the road. She initiates in a tranquil neighborhood near Jerusalem, but as you proceed onto the main road, you can already glimpse the ambulances making their way southwards.
Israel is under a wave of terror.
At 9 in the morning, while all this chaos is still unfolding in the towns and on the southern highways, many teams are avoiding the areas of conflict. Some of them who are not protected are waiting beyond the paths in the east and at the Holtz Junction in the north. The wounded from the battle zones are expected to come to this location. Abi decides to keep heading towards the Ashen that he sees hovering above the series. It's already after 9:30, and at this hour there are hundreds of injured soldiers waiting for help.
We receive a considerable quantity, if not a large amount, of telephone calls. We are currently witnessing the interior of Gaza with ambulances that are resistant to bullets.
The CEO talks about bulletproof ambulances, but those are few and not enough for the crowded beaches of the Krayot.
United Hatzalah, are there any ambulances that can take us to the hospital?
He stops my father's ambulance in the middle of the road and says, "Please wait here, I'm bringing you an 18-year-old who has been shot twice in the back." As a result, I started to comprehend something else and replied, "I will come to you immediately."
I went to Hackney. I arrived at the gate. Soldiers suddenly jumped on me with their guns, demanding to know my whereabouts and questioning my presence in that location. Why did they think they didn't know anything already? I arrive at the house, knock on the door. Father opens the door using the firearm because he was scared in that location, because there was a shootout in the area.
Abi and Emmanuel are here with their tools outside the ambulance. They're concerned about terrorists hiding nearby, possibly close to the house. They will comprehend that they arrived too late. It's truly an unpleasant situation that they find themselves in.
The mom began crying her eyes out. I began explaining to them nicely that there's an emergency outside and we need this ambulance, and I am unable to deal with it. So we just got in the ambulance and headed towards the highway without wasting any time.
At Safir College, a wounded shooting survivor is hiding, escaped from the party and waiting for help. A military jeep arrived and stopped abruptly next to the ambulance at the location. There is a severely injured soldier inside that we must evacuate immediately without any delay.
He's severely injured, like he got hit by a freight train because his legs are injured, but he can still survive. I told him, "Come in, I promise I won't leave, I'll help."
The young guy ran to look for a hideout, and the ambulance rushed with the injured soldier to the evacuation point at Hatzalah Junction. Now Avi has a promise to fulfill, and when he returns to college to pick up the injured person from there, they are stopped again by soldiers near his ambulance.
He was sitting inside a tank, and his buddy was seriously injured inside the tank, and he played it off like he was dead, and his friends were taken captive from the tank. This is what he told me on the way.
At the top of the picture, you can observe the thick smoke ascending from the centers that are presently still burning.
It's unbelievable what's happening here. However, until I glanced out the window, I didn't comprehend my location. On your right, you can see vehicles engulfed in flames, and on your left, you can observe motorcycles belonging to terrorists posing a potential threat. Like you are driving another 10 meters, and you see a soldier shooting inside a car, and you cannot even stop because there is shooting going on there. And on your left side, you hear the gunfire that takes place at noon, and you look up and see the exits from Gaza and the shots that are fired above you. And all of a sudden, it dawned on me. I am beginning to understand my current location, realizing that I am truly situated in an area of conflict.
My dad's ambulance is currently operating in the dispatch centers along Route 34, between Sderot and Sha'ar HaNegev Junction. No one was not prepared for a scene like this.
Soldiers instructing us to flee, to accelerate as quickly as possible, because the terrorists might spot us, and then they clarified that by driving fast, there is a possibility that we can avoid getting injured by it.
They're mainly busy with evacuating gunshot victims, soldiers and civilians who escaped from the road or from the situation. Not the time to focus on the bodies found everywhere. But for someone who has seen the way, my dad insists on going back now.
What I got back deep is the body of a soldier who sat in a car. His car had dents in the front, and it looks like he tried to make a run for it in the back. We transported him to the Lonka, placed him to the side, attended to him, made sure he was stable, placed him in the ambulances, and proceeded towards the series with a sense of urgency and determination.
We're cruising down this road and we're picking up that all we saw was a bunch of tailgating.
This is the road that provides connectivity to all the settlements located in the periphery of the surrounding area.
It's impossible for you to lighten up. You don't have the time to think. We are freaking out so that was it, not understanding where we are. We arrived in Far Gaza, and we see on the right side a bunch of soldiers lying on the floor with their guns pointing towards the direction of Far Gaza. We're moving forward, passing them.
First time I've ever felt so deep inside. Injured soldiers waiting for me. They're waiting to reach the hospital because there was no way to transport them out. There was a way to get them out of Gaza, but there was no way to get them to the hospital.
He got out of there like a tank. Based on his driving, we saw that he brings us a serious injury.
By the entrance to the town of Shuva lie the injured who were evacuated from the ongoing battle in the Gaza Strip.
And he drives north to the intersection of Hand and Hatzumot.
Two of our helis landed there in field, and Heli 669 also. They delivered fast food.
Even at this hour, citizens are hunkered down in their homes, pleading for help, while terrorists roam around in the settlements.
It's already after 4 o'clock. In the village of Gaza, the fighting is house to house, even in Farah, before he returns to the fire again. Avijian called the operations manager of United Rescue.
I informed Aaron Ben Arush that I need a minimum of 4 ambulances to come with me. Aaron said, I don't put the drivers in there. I said, you're a savior.
We are leading the convoy, and as soon as we set off, we are just getting onto Highway 232. We have not even started moving forward yet, and the paramedic that Abba gave us is calling my dad, telling him, you are losing your mind. Take me out now. I have kids at home. You're not normal. Where are you taking me? See what's happening here. Only then did people start to understand what was happening. We've already been on this road dozens of times, and suddenly, tell me, where are you going? Do you want to die?
I informed them all is well there with us.
As we reach Gaza village entrance, 5 jeeps rush out, doors open, honking ambulance. Overwhelmed, unsure which one to run to first, each one demanding attention. A chaotic scene with urgency in the air. We are coming from the direction of Kafaz, the army's jeep, with a soldier lying on the engine cover and a paramedic sitting on him to administer a shot. And I rotate my head, and he is already inside the ambulance, and the jeep is already in reverse gear, ready to move backwards. Suddenly we realize we lack sufficient ambulances to meet the demand.
Fill up all the ambulances, not just one on the bed. You fill them up, one sitting, one on the bed, and start flipping them.
Someone calls him, he's on the phone for a minute, and then he says, guys, chill out, I gotta get to the police station ASAP, there's a fire emergency there, I gotta go there. We told him with joy.
With the darkness, the ambulance arrives at the cop station.
Right now it's a hotbed of terrorists, and there are fire exchanges taking place. With the brute force that was gathered to break into the building using fixed ladders,
We entered the parking lot, and they told us to park the car, to park behind the ambulance. You see them throwing a firebomb into the police building, and then they signal me to come with the bed. They are escorting me with a few police officers, lifting the officer all together, quickly lifting and telling to rush back to the ambulance. We abandoned the police officer and hastily made our escape from that location.